Hello, and welcome to Part 2. You must have really enjoyed Part 1. Or you're lost and found your way here first somehow. If that's the case and you continue watching, this is going to be very confusing. So please go ahead and find Part 1 located here or wherever the links are located. You'll see it. Anyway, for those of you who intended to click over to here, welcome to Part 2, and back to the reaction. I feel like this is new, because I don't recognize it. Is that the... yeah. I was going to say, is that his mother's grave? Yeah.
In her heart, your mother knew you'd be hunted all your life, that you'd never escape your fate. The skill of the elves can reforge the sword of kings.
It really does show how important moments like this are. They may only be a few moments. Why would you cut something like that out?
It's so light.
This is a hard moment.
The blade glows blue when orcs are close. As light as a feather and as hard as dragon scales.
Light armor, a light sword.
My old ring. I should very much like to hold it again.
He's been away from it for a while now, and it still has quite a hold on him. Yeah, it's gonna get me again.
Sorry I brought this upon you, my boy.
You saw it last time, it got me.
I'm sorry that you must carry this burden.
It's the guilt of...
I'm sorry for everything.
Jesus. Oh, jeez. It's the guilt of he feels how tied he is to it and he can't help it. And the guilt of feeling the full weight of what he's brought down on Frodo.
Quest of Mount Doom. No oath nor bond is laid to go further than you will.
I don't know if this send-off was part of the theatrical cut or not.
The Fellowship awaits the ring-bearer.
I don't think it was. That's quite a moment. I don't remember it. Tell me if I'm forgetting.
Mordor, Gandalf. Is it left or right?
Left.
Yeah, that has to be new. Mordor. Is it left or right? Like, that's the only thing you gotta know is what is one direction. Yeah, because that's an important moment. Not knowing if she'll ever see him again. For those of you who love the extended edition, I see it. I see why. It really does tell you something about storytelling in that, but just some of these little moments that add that little bit of extra exposition, that little bit of time for emotion to kind of resonate around something that are important for storytelling. I can also understand it's difficult when you already have a movie that's pushing 3 hours and you're trying to make it short enough for a general audience to come see it. I can see the reason for both versions of the movie, and I think it's probably about perfect that both of them exist.
We could pass through the mines of Moria.
I would not take the road through Moria unless I had no other choice.
And I feel you may have no other choice. And Legolas is looking for something to shoot.
What is that?
Wisp of cloud.
It's moving fast.
Yeah, it's not a cloud, and it didn't look like a cloud, Gimli. Get under cover as quick as possible. I didn't pick up where they said...
Spies of Solomon.
Okay, there you go. That answers my question. I was going to say, I didn't remember if those were spies from a certain person or not. I figured it was probably Saruman. Take it easy, Frodo. A little bit slower. Dangerous foreshadowing.
Boromir, it is a strange fate that we should suffer so much fear and doubt over so small a thing.
I feel like this might be a different take, too.
Boromir! Give the ring to Frodo.
I also feel like that moment where he was immediately drawn to it at the meeting, where he got up and basically walked straight over to it and almost picked it up. But that reframes a lot about his character.
I care not.
And the impact the ring has had on him from the moment he saw it. Back to the mines of Isengard. We're just, making swords and armor and digging Uruk-hai out of the ground.
You try to lead them over Garadras. Will you risk a more dangerous road?
I feel like they're not going to turn back easy, Saruman. You question their resolve. Way to go, Gandalf. Causing an avalanche. No, I didn't see that before. He's trying to fight back. This part is new. Long distance wizard fight. Yeah, that seems dangerous, guys. That's a bunch of snow and rock and nastiness. Gimli is funny because he's always so cranky,
Let us go through the mines of Moria.
given no other choice.
You know what they awoke in the darkness.
I feel like this part's new as well.
Shadow and flame.
Frodo,
We will go through the mines.
And so it goes. They didn't really have much of another choice.
how's your shoulder?
Better than it was.
And the ring?
This is new too.
The fear from within.
Who then do I trust?
You must trust yourself. Trust your own strength.
I don't want to talk through this, but if I don't say something, I can't show it. So it again goes to show how important moments like that are.
Dwarf doors are invisible when closed.
Dwarf doors are invisible when they're closed. That seems challenging. I'm trying to remember. They have to sing or chant or something like that to get it to appear. They have to, yeah, they had to say something to get it to open.
Speak, friend, and enter. Anon!
Speak the word friend.
Annas Agothim!
Nothing's happening.
Thanks, Pippin. Appreciate the appreciate the insight there.
What are you going to do then?
Knock your head against these doors.
Pippin is a bit impatient, isn't he? Of anybody here, he's a bit impulsive and impatient, at least at this point.
Bye-bye, Bill.
There's the way home.
It's probably for the best, Bill.
Do not disturb the water.
Things live in the water, troubling things.
It's a riddle.
Yeah, they kind of tell you directly what to say, I think.
What's the Elvish word for friend?
Melon.
I mean, they kind of directly told you what to say. I feel like in the theatrical version, didn't What Was Under the Water attack before they were able to enter the mines?
Call it a mine.
This is no mine. It's a tomb.
Yeah, I was going to say, doesn't Gimli see all the bodies?
Goblins.
Now get out.
Okay, here we go. I thought there was more of a conflict with the beast that was in the water. Sam always running to the rescue, I'll tell you. Yeah, that's troubling to say the least. It honestly has been long enough that I don't remember exactly how all of this comes out. I mean, obviously I remember Frodo's okay in this, but... This seems a bit extended. This seems like more than what we got last time, I think. Good shot. Trust Legolas. Okay, I remember that now. I remember the cave.
Let us hope that our presence may go unnoticed.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think there's much chance of it going unnoticed. So it does seem fairly desolate at the moment.
The wealth of Moria was not in gold or jewels, but mithril.
Mithril. What is Mithril? Yeah, I don't quite understand.
Bilbo had a set of mithril rings,
Oh, okay. Armor.
but its worth was greater than the value of the Shire.
Frodo hearing all of this as he has it, but nobody knows he has it. So incredibly rare prize armor. I take it.
I have no memory of this place.
First time we see Gollum / Smeagol.
It's Gollum. He hates and loves the ring. Smeagol, he was once called.
I feel like this is a little more that we're getting.
Pity Bilbo didn't kill him when he had the chance.
Do not be too eager to deal out death and judgment. Even the very wise cannot see all ends.
Wise words. Do not be too sure that you know or understand what should happen, especially when it comes to ending people's lives.
I wish the ring had never come to me.
So do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide.
I remember this moment from the first time around.
We have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us.
Yeah. They do have a lot of really important messages in these movies about fate and leadership and about dealing with struggle, dealing with trials in your life.
We risk a little more light.
Risking the light, meaning that he's risking attracting attention, I imagine. Yeah, I remember saying that was fairly impressive. Imagine someone building all of that. It's a lot of pillars holding up a mountain overhead, I imagine. I remember someone explaining to me that this was some of Gimli's family, or people that he knew,
Here lies Balin, Lord of Moria.
dwarves that he knew.
We cannot get out.
Always messing with stuff, Pippin. Send up a flag. Hey, we're here. I mean, to be fair, it is quite a conclusion to draw that someone's there. That could have happened on its own. But always has to be Pippin, doesn't it?
Throw yourself in next time and rid us of your stupidity.
Yeah, Gandalf's had about enough. You just have to be more careful, Pippin. Don't go poking around where you don't need to be.
Frodo.
Orcs. Yep, that was fast. They must not have been that far away.
They have a cave troll.
What cave doesn't have a cave troll?
Let them come.
Gimli's ready for a fight. Don't feel like that door is going to last long. It does say something about Legolas's accuracy. He's hitting people through the holes in the door. Though Aragorn's doing pretty well too. So these orcs were just hanging out nearby, ready to fight? I mean, presumably this mine had been all but abandoned for quite a while. Oh, here we go. Yeah, get the hell out of there, Sam. Sam's tough and brave, but I don't think he's gonna go toe-to-toe with this thing. Saved your life. Boromir's starting to see what the big deal about Aragorn is. Ooh, double arrow. Nicely done, Legolas. That Legolas is a spry one, I'll tell you. Ooh, right in the head. Point blank range with an arrow.
I think I'm getting the hang of this.
Sam, ever the optimist. Yeah, he wasn't going to give up that easy, Frodo. Ooh. That was valiant, Aragorn, but geez. Going straight up with that thing, just a spear. I remember thinking that Frodo got hurt in the same way again with this injury, but then it makes more sense now that they were just talking about the armor that Bilbo gave him, which I don't think they did in the theatrical cut. Which, I mean, there's an argument that it's more dramatic for you to have kind of forgotten he has it by this point. And then it's revealed when they go to check on him. Nevertheless, it seems like that hurt a whole hell of a lot. Yeah, that's, this is a group effort. Legolas with a very well-aimed shot. A little help from, I think it was Pippin up on his neck. It sounds like he's okay.
There's more to this hobbit than meets the eye.
Boom. Bilbo's armor. Apparently worth more than all of the Shire. Yeah. I'd say get out of there before the second wave. Yeah, I remember wondering about just how many orcs there are. Just thousands. Just hanging out down there. More than that, because they're crawling down. Hundreds of thousands. Or more. It's like, this is basically an abandoned mine where nothing was happening. What were they doing there? I guess that makes sense. They were sent after the Fellowship by Saruman. I forgot that Saruman has been surveilling them the whole time. So that makes more sense.
What is this new devilry?
Devilry is the right word, based on the appearance of the Balrog.
A Balrog.
Yeah, you better get out of there.
This foe is beyond any of you.
Oh, the way he phrased that is beyond any of you, not beyond any of us. Meaning that he knows if there's any of them to fight it, it's going to have to be him. Yeah, let's not have a pile-up, guys. Send someone over the edge. Quick, down the stairs. I thought I remembered the Balrog chasing them out of the area with all the pillars and stuff. Was that part actually longer in the theatrical cut? That would be odd to think. Aragorn with this incredible aim.
Nobody tosses a dwarf.
That's funny. Foreshadowing for later. Also, if he had tossed you, you might have made it further. Yeah, let's hope it breaks the right way. There you go. Move quickly. Get the hell off the stairs. None of it looks very secure. You really ought to hope at that point that you've gone the right way. Okay, maybe this is the part I'm remembering. I mean, just imagine facing down something like that. That's a final boss from Doom if I've ever seen one. Iconic moment. The end of Gandalf the Grey.
Go back to the shadow.
It seems like Gandalf knew what was going to happen here, at least to some degree. And that he had decided that sacrificing himself here was kind of one of the only defenses he had. I have to admit, I thought it was over too. And then this thing whips up and gets him. Still such a selfless moment.
Fly, you fools.
It wasn't even attached to him anymore. Just him releasing himself to fall because he knew that them staying there would put them at further danger, trying to save him. With the orcs still on their tail. Yeah. Says something about how much he cares about Frodo and the importance of the mission that they're on, that he's willing to sacrifice himself like that for it. I never considered this before. It's hitting me again, too, by the way. I mean, how could it not? But never considered this before about Pippin. This could be a moment of incredible guilt for him, feeling like he started all of that back there, or he gave away their position or whatever.
For pity's sake! By nightfall, these hills will be swarming with orcs.
Yeah.
We must reach the woods of LOTR.
This is the moment where I'm more on Boromir's side about give them a moment, even though I understand where Aragorn's coming from.
Frodo!
Frodo tried to walk off on his own. I don't think I remember that. No, that shot. I don't think I remember that. It was an amazing shot of the single tear and all of that, but maybe that's foreshadowing of Frodo thinking he's going to have to go do this alone eventually. Especially after he just lost somebody that has gone on this journey with him, especially someone so important as Gandalf.
They say that a great sorceress lives in these woods.
Gimli being afraid of the elves, the elf witch.
All who look upon her fall under her spell.
Gimli's opinion of elves is going to have to drastically change over the course of these movies.
You're coming to us. You bring great evil here, Ring-bearer.
Galadriel, or elf witch, as Gimli calls them. They are sneaky. You just don't even see them come.
The dwarf breathed so loud we could have shot him in the dark.
I wonder if they would have shot him if not for Legolas.
Aragorn and Dunadai, Estanenle, Amen.
So speak words we can all understand.
Yeah, don't start a problem with people saving your butt, Gimli.
You bring great evil with you.
It's something that Frodo may get tired of hearing from everybody. This whole section is different, I believe. I don't think we get to see this in the theatrical cut. But they initially don't want to let them in, which makes sense. It speaks to the power of the ring and the threat that comes with it.
Gandalf's death was not in vain, nor would he have you give up hope. You carry a heavy burden, Frodo.
Even simple moments like that. I think that people underestimate how much that does just for the development of a character like Boromir. To have moments like that where they show that they do have noble intentions at their heart.
On earth, realm of the Lord Celeborn and of Galadriel, Lady of Light.
Aragorn must have done some pretty persuasive sweet talking to get them to change their mind. Pretty impressive sets. Interesting to think that I'm sure it's all green screen. Like you could see these wonderful structures and they had to put little people in there to populate it. Galadriel and Celeborn. I've seen that actor who plays Celeborn and other things before.
Gandalf desire to speak with him.
That's going to be a little tricky.
He has fallen.
He was taken by both shadow and flame.
Needless were none of the deeds of Gandalf in life.
I wonder, and that makes me wonder, we do not yet know his full purpose. I wonder if any others know that he's not actually gone.
The great emptiness of Khazad-dûm fill your heart, Gimli, son of Gloin, and in all lands love is now mingled with grief.
Yeah, I think this part is extended. I don't remember these moments pointing out Gimli and different. I remember that from Boromir. As she sees into their minds, how it affects them.
The quest stands upon the edge of a knife.
No pressure. Lot rides on it.
Yet hope remains while the company is true. Welcome, Frodo, one who has seen the eye.
It's a little scary. You can see into all their minds. I wonder if she sees the likelihood of Boromir and what he'll do, being overcome by the ring.
What do they say about him? I have not the heart to tell you.
Shows you how honored Gandalf was.
But they don't mention his fireworks.
The finest rockets ever seen. Or after thunder, Silver showers came falling like a rain of flowers. Oh, that doesn't do them justice.
Quite a poet, Sam. The sentiment is intact. That's nice of him to want to pay tribute to. All of them to want to pay tribute to Gandalf. It shows you the reach of his presence in this world.
These borders are well protected.
I will find no rest here. I heard her voice inside my head. She spoke of my father and the fall of Gondor. She said to me, even now there is hope left, but I cannot see it. It is long since we had any hope.
I was going to say, I wonder if she showed him what becomes of his father.
My father, noble man, his rule is failing, and our people lose faith.
It really makes me wonder what the state of his father was when he last saw him, based on what he's like once we come to see him in these movies.
Ever seen his Aragorn? Have you ever been called home? I have seen the White City. One day, our paths will lead us there. The lords of Gondor have returned.
Starting to trust him, I feel like. Boromir does have pure intentions. He just insecure and fragile and easily corruptible because he fears for his land and his people.
Will you look into the mirror?
What will I see?
That's why you look. You don't know.
Things that were, things that are, and some things that have not yet come to pass.
Feels like that might be of the most value. Even though people think they want to know the future, I think often maybe they don't. Remember that Shire burning. Potential future. The Shire destroyed. I remember wondering if it's possible that Sauron could be reaching out through this to try to get the ring.
It is what will come to pass if you should fail.
Okay.
He will try to take the ring.
So she's warning him about the betrayal of Boromir.
I will give you the one ring.
Frodo does not understand the danger of what he's doing, although I understand his desire to get rid of it.
In place of a Dark Lord, you would have a queen!
Frodo just says, just kidding. Even being that close, was that just her warning him, or was that the effect of being too close to the ring for her?
I cannot do this alone. You are a ring bearer, Frodo. To bear a ring of power is to be alone.
Yeah, because eventually it'll corrupt everyone.
If you do not find a way, no one will. Then I know what I must do.
So this is when he realizes that he has to go on his own.
Even the smallest person can change the course of the future.
He is lucky that the two people that he's offered it to are noble enough and self-aware enough to understand the disaster it would be if they were to take it from both Gandalf and Galadriel.
Whom do you serve? Saruman.
Saruman raising a pretty fearsome army. Time to put those weapons and armor to good use.
You do not know pain, you do not know fear. You will taste man flesh!
Man flesh sounds unnecessarily dirty.
The halfling, bring them to me alive and unspoiled.
The Uruk-hai do not like being told to bring in people alive and unspoiled. That is quite a boat. I think that's new to this edition. Oh, it is.
Never before have we clad strangers in the garb of our own people. May these cloaks help shield you from unfriendly eyes.
Okay, that is one that there's no excuse for them cutting out. That was 10 or 15 seconds.
One small bite is enough to fill the stomach of a grown man.
Even that's useful information to understand the value of the food.
How many did you eat? 4.
To understand the value of the food that they gave them and that it can sustain you for extended periods of time. But just even that bit about the cloaks, that was a few seconds. And they just kind of left that unexplained in the theatrical cut.
By river, you have the chance of outrunning the enemy to the falls of Rauros.
Basically, also, he has no part in the movie other than when they first arrive here, except for that bit that they just cut out where his discussion with Aragorn. So, yeah.
Is a bow of the Galadrim worthy of the skill of our woodland kin?
All of these things are important information for later on. Feels like they could have found other things to cut if they were trying to cut down time.
Do not fear, young Peregrine Took. You will find your courage.
He will indeed. Both Pip and Merry will find it.
Gamgee, elven rope made of heathline.
Thank you, milady.
All of these things I'm sure come into play later. They're just unexplained. Gimli.
And what gift would a dwarf ask of the elves?
Nothing except to look upon the lady of the Galadrim one last time.
Yeah, Gimli has certainly changed on his opinion of her.
There was one thing stupid.
You guys are right. I mean,
You have your own choice to make, Aragorn. To rise above the height of all your fathers, or to fall into darkness with all that is left of your kin.
there are moments like this that foreshadow the things that are to come, but There are other moments also that, I mean, she's giving them things that are going to come into play later in the story. You would figure there were other places they could cut if they're trying to cut time. Those are important moments. Those are important things to know.
Farewell, Frodo Baggins. I give you the light of Erendian.
Yeah, this is all we got in theatrical, I think. Like, I remember asking in the last one, why did they all have matching clips?
May it be a light for you in dark places.
And it's because they all had cloaks given to them by the elves to help conceal them.
Henceforth I will call nothing fair unless it be her gift to me.
What was her gift?
I asked her for one hair from her golden head. She gave me 3.
That's beautiful. I feel like part of that was in the theatrical cut. I don't remember for sure. But especially that moment there between him and Legolas, this change between Gimli having so much hostility for the elves and the elves for dwarves, and those barriers starting to come down. The March of the Uruk-hai, hot on their trail. Just running along the banks of the river, apparently. Is that Gollum?
He's tracked us since Moria.
I don't remember if we saw that part in the theatrical. I don't remember it.
You haven't eaten anything all day, and you're not sleeping either.
Sam is really after him.
I'm here to help you. I promised Gandalf that I would.
You can't help me, Sam.
Yeah.
Not this time.
I wonder if that's... I think this is new for the extended edition, and I wonder if that's Sam's first hint that Frodo has something else in mind.
Minas Tirith is the safer road.
There is no strength in Gondor.
You have so little faith in your own people. You're afraid, scared of who you are.
I will not lead the ring within 100 leagues of your city.
It makes Boromir a more sympathetic character because you really see his motivations, but you also see his weakness, his frailty, the places where he breaks from his desperation, and Aragorn trying to guard against that. When he said he wouldn't bring the ring anywhere near the city, that being the reason why, is that it would be so likely to fall into the wrong hands. It actually really speaks to Faramir later in the decision he comes to, as far as his integrity. Those are still really impressive statues. We want to make sure you don't drift too far down that river. Get to the banks before the current of the waterfalls get you. Yeah, Boromir is really starting to struggle, and Frodo knows it.
Hide the boats and continue on foot. We approach Mordor from the north.
Frodo, at least in part, likely saved by Galadriel confirming that Boromir is going to try to take the ring from him.
We should leave now.
No, we must wait for cover of darkness.
Something draws near. I can feel it.
I wonder why it is that they're not concerned at all that Gollum is following them. Maybe they don't see him as a threat?
Where's Frodo?
Frodo's kind of signaling what he's likely planning to do. He keeps wandering off on his own.
None of us should wander alone. You least of all. Frodo?
Yeah, this is already feeling creepy.
I know why you seek solitude.
Boromir doesn't even necessarily know he's going to do it yet.
There are other ways, Frodo.
I know what you would say. It would seem like wisdom, but for the warning in my heart.
Warning? Against what?
Boromir can't even see what he's falling prey to within himself. It shows you even how pure intentions can be twisted.
I ask only for the strength to defend my people.
There's his frustration.
You are not yourself.
He sees it.
They will find you. They will take the ring.
There's his rationale. Yeah, he is no thief, and now he is completely overtaken. And that is dangerous, Frodo. I know you did it as a defense.
You will take the ring to Sauron!
But that means they can see you.
You will betray us! Curse you!
In these moments where the ring finally gets to them, you see them overcome by their greatest weaknesses, their greatest fears, their greatest greed, or whatever it is. Their ego. And now he's finally come back to himself to realize it really very much like Bilbo in that moment when he had that one flare up of the ring's hold on him, and then what it did to him, how it made him feel about what he had put on Frodo's shoulders. Frodo, take the ring off, please. Having the ring on is never a good thing, especially for prolonged periods of time, unless you just want Sauron to find you. I mean, I know we're doing it for dramatic effect, but come on.
Frodo?
It has taken Boromir.
Where is the ring?
Stay away!
I would be gun-shy at this point, too, even for Aragorn.
I swore to protect you.
Can you protect me from yourself?
A good question to answer, or to ask right there.
Would you destroy it?
Aragorn's in a unique position that he, among anyone else, has a fear of being overcome by the ring, based on what's happened to his ancestors, or what happened to his ancestor. The strength even just of that action, a lifetime of fear that he'd be overcome by it.
I would have gone with you to the end.
I know.
He knows that Frodo's mind's made up.
Look after the others, especially Sam. He will not understand.
Go, Frodo.
Run!
Aragorn just shows over and over again how heroic he is. That whatever it is that he's worried about with himself, it shows his character that he's worried, but that he need not be. Even facing down, he comes around a corner, he's facing down that many Uruk-hai and goes directly into them without fear. All right, here we have our 300 moment. Channel them into a narrow corridor. Yeah, Frodo has quite a task just getting out of there before they get to him. It is truly amazing, some of just the horrific battles we see Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli in the middle of. And Legolas and Gimli able to find comedy within that.
Frodo, hide here, quick. What's he doing?
Merry knows before Pippin.
He's leaving.
No!
And Pip. Always so impulsive.
Run, Frodo, go.
Hey! Hey, you!
That's a good friend, Merry. I mean, both of them, but Merry understands.
It's working! I know it's working! Run!
Maybe don't stop to talk about how well it's working, considering these guys can kill you. Yeah, that would be pretty terrifying for anybody to come up against. There we go. Boromir gets to have his hero moment. Some redemption after falling to his weakness with Frodo. Jeez, Legolas. Also, he doesn't ever seem to run out of arrows.
What on me?
Yeah, I don't remember. Was the Horn of Gondor supposed to call reinforcements in? Or was it just supposed to signal to the rest of the Fellowship here? Seems like they would be too far from Gondor for there to be anybody who would hear that, who could help. This one in particular. One that's just gonna... multiple times. Though Boromir keeps fighting. There it is. Right in the heart. I feel like Boromir knows even at that moment that he's done, probably. That he's going to go down fighting. I mean, the guy's a hell of a shot. Boromir is determined not to go down easy. You can tell how much this moment affects Pippin and Merry, especially later on with Pippin, speaking of this moment with Boromir. This Uruk-hai commander keeps having this look on his face like, why won't this guy go down? Not running and hiding anymore. No, they didn't know, obviously, that they were to be taken prisoners. Make a run at him, Boromir. Oh, I forgot about that. I think I remembered Aragorn was with him at the end, but I forgot about Aragorn coming in to fight this guy. I think I'm remembering now. At least there's that. At least they get some retaliation on this guy who killed Boromir. You like the taste of your own blood? What is that supposed to mean? This is bragging to the end. Oh, look how tough I am.
They took the little ones. Where is Frodo? I'm not Frodo. Then you did what I could not.
A moment of honesty about his weakness. It's important.
They have failed you all. No, Boromir, you've kept your honor.
This definitely paints a more favorable picture of Boromir. He just fell to his weakness for a moment.
And all will come to darkness. But I swear to you, I will not let the White City fall.
It's important to have moments like this, for him to have his honor at the end.
I would have followed you, my brother. My captain. My king.
Even at the end, he finally sees it, who Aragorn really is. Even before Aragorn will let himself see it. That one got me more this time.
Peace, son of Gondor.
R.I.P. Boromir. If the extended edition, if anything can be said about it, it gives you some more important information, but it also gives certain moments more room to breathe, which is important from an emotional standpoint.
Frodo!
It's not always the most expedient thing as far as runtime, but it's important for the emotion of some of these scenes.
I wish the ring had never come to me.
Wonder if you can sense Sam coming for him.
All you have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to you.
Important lesson for anyone. It's all any of us can do. And there's his courage. Do what he needs to do. He just remembered what happened, sir. And Sam's determination.
Frodo! No, Sam. Going to Mordor alone. Of course you are, and I'm coming with you.
That kind of negates the alone part, Sam. I don't think you're understanding Sam's devotion to you, Frodo. Or maybe it's his devotion to what he promised Gandalf, especially now that Gandalf has sacrificed himself. If there was anyone who should be by Frodo's side, it would be Sam. If there was anyone who would be devoted to something more than the ring, it would probably be Sam. Even Aragorn probably knows that if he stayed around it too long, it could corrupt him, which he's afraid of.
I made a promise, Mr. Frodo.
It's pretty deep for only being that far from the shore.
Don't you leave him, Samwise Gamgee, and I don't mean to. Oh, Sam.
You don't find someone more devoted than Sam, that's for sure.
Come on.
You're going to Mordor alone with Sam. That works, right? Funeral by waterfall.
You mean not to follow them? Frodo's fate is no longer in our hands.
That has all been in vain.
It has not been in vain, Gimli. Just didn't go as you expected.
What if we hold true to each other? We will not abandon Merry and Pippin.
Yeah, you still have a mission ahead of you.
That is handsome, Orc.
I mean, there is to be said for the 3 warriors of the group still being together and on their mission. Or 3 of the warriors.
Mordor. I hope the others find a safer road. I don't suppose we'll ever see them again.
We may yet, Mr. Frodo.
Yeah, you may yet, Mr. Frodo. Don't suppose to know what will happen.
Sam, I'm glad you're with me.
Yeah, it was touch and go there for a minute. Sam was sinking under the water, kind of ignoring the fact he didn't know how to swim. Off to Mordor on the horizon. And there we are. Well, I certainly feel a bit different this time than I did last time, so let's go ahead to the wrap-up. Well, that was certainly a similar experience, yet a different experience. Both the second time through watching the movie, but this time with the extended edition. I can definitely see what many of you were telling me about things that were in the extended edition that the theatrical edition kind of blew past. I guess what I would say as far as my assessment of the certain things that were included in extended edition that weren't for theatrical is that there were some, I guess I can see the frustration, that just didn't make sense. I mean, you can understand that when you're cutting something down for theatrical, you're trying to find places where you can save time. But there were small moments that were pretty important that they cut out in that effort when it just would have been a few seconds here or there. They could have found other places to cut out. They could have found other bits of like the kind of expansive travel like segments and stuff where you have your sweeping shots of the landscape and stuff. They could have found moments out of there to cut out things. But yeah, they definitely made some odd choices as far as the cuts. Now, some of that you could argue wasn't completely necessary, like things that would become obvious through the course of the storytelling, stuff that they didn't necessarily have to signal toward in advance. But there were certain things that just kind of wouldn't make sense later, or that would just kind of be lost altogether without like a 10-second scene that explained it previously. The cloaks they're all wearing, those come into play later on. The things they're given by the elves as they're leaving them and going off to the ending of the movie, the battle against the Uruk-hai and all of that. A lot of the other parts I feel like were just kind of extra moments for character development and for moments to emotionally let a poignant moment breathe, to give it more space, which is important certainly when it comes to emotional connection to what's going on. Unfortunately, things like that do get sacrificed in theatrical cuts or when people are trying to save time. But also just moments, again, moments for character development. And this is very much what all of you told me as well, obviously going along the same line that I've discovered what you already knew. The slight differences in what they were able to show you with Boromir kind of changed the characterization enough to show you that he is, at his heart, a noble person. He does care about doing the right thing, but he also cares very much for his people, and his people are in a troubling position. Even specifically, the extended part in the meeting about the ring, when they're deciding what to do with it, him being drawn to it immediately, almost right off the bat, just going over to pick it up, showing you his susceptibility to the power of the ring, signaling that he's probably going to be the one to break first. But also, he gives the same speech, but it's a different take, like different emotion, different voice behind it. Just even that lends a considerably different characterization, little moments that you don't get otherwise between certain characters, especially that moment between Gandalf and Frodo before they go into the mines of Moria. Yeah, it just all lends to a different feel of the story. But I still maintain my point about the theatrical cuts in that you can make an argument the other direction. When these movies came out, there are people who were already diehard fans of Lord of the Rings, who loved Lord of the Rings, that would have gone to see these movies no matter what, that were waiting for them to come out, dying for them to come out, because they were already diehard fans of this. They had read the books, they had seen the animated things they had done previously. They were just chomping at the bit for anything Lord of the Rings. Now, obviously, if this had been in the hands of someone else who didn't do as good a job, you would have had a lot more people far more furious, I'm sure. But there were those people that were going to go see it no matter what. There was an existing fan base. But they also, to their credit and just the way these things work, had to try to put something forward that the general public would give a chance. And even a theatrical cut that's already pushing 3 hours is tough to sell to the general public, that they're going to go and take a shot on this thing they know nothing about and sit in a theater for 3 hours. I'm sure that one of the things that helped drive people to the theater after that was that word got out, like, oh, this is amazing, you have to go see this. It was an entry point. Theatrical cuts always are, especially in situations like this. I'm sure there are other movies that got extended cuts similar to this, where the more complete vision of the story was told in those extended cuts. I still think that Lord of the Rings owes a lot as far as people who have found it and love it. And even if they love the extended cuts far more than theatrical now, those theatrical cuts were still their entry point to this world. It was still the first thing they ever saw. And without the existence of them, they may never have found anything to do with Lord of the Rings. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you disagree with me. That's all perfectly fine. That's the way I feel about it. It's the way I imagine it to be. Maybe you're just so steadfast. No, the extended cuts were so great, everyone would have gone and seen them. Doesn't matter how long they were. Some people, that's a deterrent if they don't already love it, So we are at the part of the video where we come to ratings. And what will my ratings be? Maybe my ratings for the theatrical cuts would change, because if these are better, then they would be rated higher. We're already kind of at the top end with these. I believe the theatrical cut of Return of the King, I rated 5 stars. I did enjoy this more this time. That had something to do with it being the second viewing, because I wasn't starting cold. I was familiar with some of these characters. I was familiar with the basic outline of what was going to happen. This did go deeper into that, and I did enjoy that. I gave the theatrical cut of this 4 stars. I'm going to give this 4.5 stars. We're not leaving much headroom here, because again, the theatrical cut of Return of the King got 5 stars. So if we're at this level, it's possible the rest of them are just going to get 5. I don't think I'm going to move the other ones down, because for me, more enjoyment of the extended editions doesn't diminish my enjoyment of the theatrical versions. I enjoyed them. They're the reason I'm watching the extended editions now, because the promise of those movies that I enjoyed, but a deeper telling of them, that's why I'm here. If I were to predict, I would say that I'm going to enjoy these movies, because I certainly enjoyed the theatrical cuts, but I'm not going to have the animosity toward the theatrical cuts that some people have necessarily. I do think there are some choices they made that didn't make a lot of sense to me, especially things that are only a few seconds that would have provided a decent amount more clarity. But that kind of thing happens when you have editors looking to save time. So anyway, 4.5 stars. That's where we are on Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring Extended Edition, which I think anybody would agree is a mouthful as far as title. I really appreciate you coming along on this with me. I am looking forward to watching the others. I'm sure that this got released in 2 parts, so thanks for coming along on both parts. If you would, please go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button down there. Click the bell so you can see when I put out more videos. I don't know if I'm going to be doing 2 Towers and Return of the King immediately, but I am certainly going to be doing them, and I hope that you'll come along with me when I do those. And with the other reactions I'm doing on this channel. I have a lot of things that I want to do out here, a lot of things I'm excited to get into, or to continue with, other things that I've already started. So anyway, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.